Hey, what's going on, guys? So, wanted to make a video. Just ordered this whiteboard on Amazon. I just want to make a quick video talking about spark knock, or some people call it detonation, pre-ignition, pinging noise, stuff along those lines. I have talked about it in the past, and what causes it, and exactly what is going on inside of the engine when the audible sound is heard. So, a lot of people call it different things. Some people call it pinging. Other people call it spark knock. Some people just call it knocking. Not to be confused with rod knock. So pinging, spark knock, knocking, detonation, and then pre-ignition. So those are some names of what people call that noise that we hear when driving a vehicle. It sounds like a tin can noise. I'll try to attach a sound clip off of YouTube. So pretty much when you hear that noise, it's actually coming from the combustion chamber. So you have your spark plug here. I'm not a very good artist, so bear with me. Then you have this is your cylinder. And then inside your cylinder, you have your piston. Obviously, connecting rod, crankshaft down here. So this is your piston inside of your cylinder, and here's your spark plug. So we know that your spark plug is supposed to fire off precisely. That's why we have camshaft sensors, crankshaft position sensors for the spark plug to fire accordingly, depending on which cylinder is on compression, if it's on exhaust stroke. So that's why we have the cam sensors, crank sensors, cam sensor, crank sensor. So the crank sensor tells the PCM which position the crank is at. So we'll put a crank here. I'm not an artist, obviously. Crank, shaft. So your crankshaft position sensor is telling the PCM what stroke, or what it's telling the PCM is cylinder number 1 at TDC, is cylinder number 2 at TDC, so on and so forth. And then you have your camshaft, which is on top of it's in the head. So we'll do cam lobes, camshaft, and then you have the cam sensor. Your cam sensor tells the PCM what the position of the cam lobe. So if the cam lobe is opening the valves, then you're on exhaust stroke, or intake, depending on which valves are open. If they're closed, you're on compression, so on and so forth. So the spark plug is supposed to ignite precisely at a certain time for a perfect combustion event to happen inside of the cylinder. So when you're hearing this noise, whatever you want to call it, there is a combustion event going on. That's not very good. So spark knock is the event inside of the cylinder when there is two events of combustion. So your spark plug is supposed to fire off precisely. So these little lines here that I made is the event of a combustion, which is when the air fuel mixture ignites. So you have pressure driving down the cylinder, and then spark knock or pre-ignition is when there is a ignition of the air fuel mixture prior to the spark plug firing off. So now you have two combustion events fighting each other. So that creates really, really high pressure inside of the cylinder, and it makes the piston just rattle on the cylinder, and that's what you're hearing outside of the engine when you're driving the vehicle. So pretty much, something inside of the cylinder made the air fuel mixture ignite before the spark plug, and then the spark plug ignites, creating super high pressure, and then in turn making that metallic sound that you hear. What causes it? A lot of times it's excessive carbon buildup on the dome of the piston. So that carbon gets so hot that it becomes a coal, sort of like charcoal. It becomes so hot that it just starts to glow, causing the air fuel mixture to ignite prior to the spark plug. So that's one of the more common causes of it. So that would be, put it here, causes. One of the most common is carbon buildup. That's one of the most common reasons why a vehicle or engine will detonate, is carbon buildup. The carbon just becomes a new source of lighting off the mixture. Other possibilities is excessive timing advance. So carbon buildup, excessive timing advance. Other things I've seen in the field is a vehicle that's consuming oil, oil consumption. So when a vehicle comes in and it's consuming a lot of oil, I do notice that they do tend to pre-ignite, ping. The reason behind that is, I'm sure oil is flammable at a certain temperature, and inside of the combustion chamber, we're seeing 1700 degrees or more, depending on the engine. And then that could lead to carbon buildup as well, the oil consumption, because it's going inside of the cylinder. So that's another one. Something else that I have seen is poor fuel quality. This is one of the big ones. Poor fuel quality, meaning 87 octane or just cheap gas, like from a mom and pop gasoline station. But 87 is more prone to knocking. The higher the octane rating, the more resistant it is to detonation pre-ignition. That's pretty much how octane ratings work. So 87 being your lowest here in California, and our highest being 91. Other states do have 93 octane, which we don't have. So some states have 93 octane. So the higher you go up in the octane rating, the more resistant it is to detonation. So that's the way that octane rating works. So yeah, just a quick illustration of what detonation is, what causes it, what it sounds like. So if you do have a vehicle that is pinging, the first thing I would do is run a fuel induction cleaning through it. So pretty much there's chemicals that you could hook up through the throttle body or one of the vacuum lines on the manifold, and it's supposed to, in theory, break apart the carbon buildup on the pistons and on the valves, and hopefully that helps with your case of pinging. Along with that, I would also recommend upping the octane rating on your vehicle. Depending on the vehicle, I mean, if you're running 87, try 89 and see if that helps. If you have a turbo vehicle, I wouldn't go anything less than 91. Turbo vehicles, if they do detonate, that could lead to catastrophic failure. It'll actually destroy pistons. It'll crack the pistons. You could burn valves. You could bend valves. You could score the cylinder walls. All kinds of stuff can happen, since a turbocharged engine is being force-fed air, and they do make a lot of power as opposed to a naturally aspirated engine. So yeah, that's a little little explanation of Detonation, my understanding of it, what I've learned over the years as well. Yeah, like I said, I'm not an artist, so bear with me with the drawings. Now, all that being said, I did mention the octane ratings, 87 being the lowest in California, 89 being the middle, 91 being the highest that we could get here in Cali. Octane rating. If you're in the high performance world, if you have a turbo vehicle, I'll take a Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution, for example. Favorite car in the world. Used to have one. There's only so much power you can make on regular pump gas before you run into detonation. So when you're tuning a vehicle, a turbocharged vehicle, you hook it up to the dyno, and you make power by adding boost and also by adding timing advance. So say your vehicle is making 500 wheel horsepower at 30 psi. So the tuner will keep feeding it timing advance. So you'll keep raising the timing advance. Timing advance is, back to my gangster drawing, piston, combustion chamber, spark plug. Timing advance is firing off the spark plug sooner than the piston being at TDC, and that creates power. So the tuner will continue adding timing advance until there is an event of knock, spark knock. Spark knock. So 30 psi, you'll keep raising the boost. The boost, we don't want to go, depending on the engine, too much because you'll run into lifting the head. That's another video later. So let's just say 30 psi, and then he'll keep raising the timing advance until there's an event of spark knock, like I wrote down. Now the tuner knows that the vehicle is maxed out at 500 wheel horsepower, 30 psi, and 18 degrees of timing advance. So the vehicle made 500 wheel horsepower at 30 psi, 18 degrees of timing advance, and then we had an event of spark knock. So now the tuner, in theory, is supposed to know that this is the limit. We don't want spark knock on a turbocharged high performance car. Like I said, it will destroy pistons, it will bend rods, it's catastrophic when you're making power. So now he knows that this is the max timing advance that the engine's going to take before it spark knocks. So then he's supposed to drop this down to make it safe. So he's supposed to put it 15 degrees of timing. Do another pull and your horsepower will probably drop 450. So the 450 at 15 degrees, 30 psi. Now the engine is safe to go smash on it. You don't want to ever leave your timing advance at the very edge of it, because, like I said, it's very, very catastrophic, and you want the consumer to be able to have fun with this car and it be reliable. So that's another very important point about spark knock and how it transfers into the high performance world. Okay, so that's out of the way. Octane ratings. Okay, now we want to make more power, right? Always we want more. Thank God we have in California E85. So E85 has a um, higher knock resistance as opposed to our regular pump gases. Let me tell you what it equals out to. I think it's about 105 octane. All right, so E85 has an octane rating of anywhere from 100 to 105. 100 to 105 octane. This is where everybody in the power world goes to. Pump gas, it's super cheap. Here in Southern California, it's about $2.39 a gallon. So now we're tuning the vehicle for E85. We're no longer using regular pump gas, which is 91 octane. E85 equals to 105 octane. So you can throw more boost, more timing advance. So now where the vehicle was making 500 wheel, 30 psi, 18 pounds of boost, and then a spark knocked, now we could go. This is just an example. I'm not a tuner. 22 degrees of timing. Make a pull. In theory, the vehicle should pick up a lot of power. So let's just say 600 wheel, 30 psi, 22 degrees of timing, and no spark knock. E85 is pretty resistant to spark knock. It can take a lot. So yeah, what else can I tell you? E85. Oh yeah, so this is just pump gas. This is just pump gas E85 from the gas station. And then you have companies like Ignite. They have up to E98. It's like pure ethanol. And then it just brings your potential even higher. And then at the same time, keeping the engine safe. So since we're talking about E85, I'll touch bases on some misunderstandings out there. So 91 octane and then E85. So a perfect running air fuel mixture is 14.7 parts to 7. So for E85 to be 14.7 to 1, it's going to require 30% more fuel delivery. By fuel delivery, meaning you're going to need a bigger fuel pump, and at the very least, large injectors. So, well, let's just say 1,000 cc injectors. So to run E85, obviously a tune, you do need 30% more fuel for the E85 to burn at 14.7 to 1. And by doing that, you're gonna need to up the fuel pump size, fuel injector size. So a set of 1,000 cc injectors, these are rated at 91 octane. So in reality, when you're running E85, you take away 30%. So they'll become, in reality, 750s on E. So it takes 30% more fuel to run the engine at stoichiometric air fuel ratio, which is 14.7 to 1. Yeah, hopefully this video answers some questions and helps you guys understand what detonation is, spark knock, whatever you want to call it. I'll try to attach a clip of it and show you what the noise I'm talking about is. In a regular vehicle like a Hyundai Elantra, Honda Accord, non-turbo, it's really not something that I would do sleep over. But if you're doing high performance world, definitely can cause some catastrophic failures. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.